Hello and welcome back to another episode of Calm the Conflict, the Art of Resolution, where me, Zakia Khalid, independent solicitor for businesses, helping them with all their debt recovery needs. And David?
Hi, so I'm David Goldberg. I'm a partner at EMW Law and an accredited mediator.
David and I both look at the role of mediation and what that role is in litigation and how it can help businesses resolve disputes. In this episode, David, I'm going to ask you about who really drives the mediation.
Straight to the jugular then.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no sort of beating around the bush today. We've covered so many different aspects of the mediation, what happens on the day of mediation, but who actually drives the mediation? Who's in control of it?
Okay,
Is there a party that's in control? Maybe we can just run through the various different roles.
Absolutely. So I think that the client is always in control. Who runs it? I think initially I like to try and run it myself as the mediator, because it's quite useful for the clients and all the other parties, barristers, witnesses or whatever the people have got in there, to understand that there is a process and follow the process, because the process works, but there's going to be peaks and troughs. So if I explain it at the outset that this is what's going to happen, I'm in charge, my rules, there are no rules other than whatever it is, everybody gets a bit more relaxed into the day, and there is someone that's sort of controlling the process. The decision is always down to the client. Okay, I can't force decisions, I don't want to force decisions, but the idea is to get everyone in the right space initially. So first things off, this is the process, this is how it's going to work, this is how it's going to run. Is everybody okay with that? Well, everybody's always okay because they have an idea in advance. And as the mediation progresses, people take different roles, as you were implying.
Yeah, I was going to say, do the clients, so the individual businesses, the different parties, not so much the legal representatives, but do the people that are there for the mediation, is the party A, for example, telling you, or do they ever tell you, that David, you have to do this. This is my case. In that kind of tone, that kind of way, instead of saying, well, actually, I would rather you went back to the other side and told them this on our behalf.
I think it's horses for courses. There are certain people who are more aggressive. There are certain people who are less aggressive. I tend to find, certainly early on, when everybody's sort of learning to feel how everybody works with each other in the initial set, the clients are very chilled. They often will sit back, and I think there may be, you've done this as a solicitor for a mediator in mediations. I think probably what happens initially is you will say to the client, just ease into it. David's got this. I've got your back. We're working the process, and I think you will come to the forefront, or the solicitors tend to come to the forefront in the earlier stages. The client gets their feet, you can relax a bit more, you're on the same page, and I'm coming in and out of rooms on a Zoom call or physical room, and the dynamics will change as the day goes on, but everybody does have a play. The final decision is still the client's, but I can see who is often the alpha, if there is one in a room, be that, it might be a business partner or a relative of the person with the claim. It might be the solicitor. It might be counsel. But it's a fluid process. That's the beauty of the whole thing.
And that's the beauty of it as well. Having a mediator is that independent role, and actually they've got to control the process, because if there's no control, then it's complete and utter chaos.
Absolutely, yeah.
So somebody's got to be driving it, and generally speaking, it will be the mediator that's that force between the two parties.
I think that's right. It's got to be the mediator that drives it. Otherwise, as you say, it descends into a shouting match, which doesn't work. I've never had that problem. People will respect the process. As the day gets more, people get more, it becomes more intense as the day goes on. So when offers start being made, counter offers, cross offers, comments, if I will say to you and your client, well, actually, I don't think that's a particularly good point.
I was just about to ask you.
Which we've done.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Do you ever get to a stage where the client or the solicitor even is saying, we need you to go back to the other side and tell them this. You must tell them this. And you're thinking, well, actually, that point's neither here nor there. It's not really going to take you anywhere. It's not to their benefit. It's not to disadvantage or advantage anybody. But where they're so forceful, they're like, you have to tell them then to say, actually.
My answer to that would be, let's just do a reality check on your approach. And if I was to come to you with that, how would that sit with you?
So you almost turn it around.
Turn it around, yeah. There's no
that
point
does get them thinking they were actually...
Yeah, people do get very aggressive. Peaks and troughs. Energy levels go up, energy levels go down. People get stressed. We get the laptop closing. It's lunchtime. If we're not done by lunch, we're leaving. Laptop shuts. And it is a fluid process. But ultimately, I like to try and keep control of the process, and work with the parties to see. They will often be in one room. I think clients take a view, get more involved a bit later on in the day, when they've sort of seen how it works, because they're ultimately the ones that are going to be either paying or receiving, or doing whatever it needs to be
whatever
done.
part of the deal they're involved
whatever the
in.
deal is. So I think it's very much a case of managing expectations all the way through. So we've had this conversation many times before. I'll speak to the parties in advance so they know that before the day starts what's going to happen.
What's going to happen. I think that is so, so important. I mean, I don't know if all mediators do that or not, but I think it's really, really important part of the preparation process in preparing the client as well. I mean, I can tell them what the procedure is. I can tell them what the day of mediation involves and sort of what my role is there to hold their hand, to support them. It's not the court of law, and remind them of those practical elements. But I think it's really good that you have that conversation as well with the solicitor.
100%. But the whole point is
the mediation, before the day.
And on the day, as you say, I'm independent, so I can give an opinion. Okay, but your opinion as a solicitor there is crucial because you know the client, you've got that relationship, you know the ins and outs of it, you know what they will and won't take. So it's also useful, and I've had this before. I'll have conversations outside with the solicitors or the barristers to say, if you're going to keep going down this road, we're going to get nowhere. Or work with me. Or the client's getting a bit uptight, or the client's getting a bit stressed, or the client's losing interest. How can we bring this back? So it's a two-way street between you and I, so the mediator and the solicitor, or if we've got counsel there, exactly the same.
So to wrap it up, parties are all working together, but
100%.
Ultimately you've got the mediator who actually sort of takes charge
to make sure
keeps the structure and to keep the process going. So we hopefully answered, who actually takes control and who's in charge on the day of mediation. And actually every individual, every party in that mediation process has a role to play, but the mediator's role is really, really important, and that hopefully keeps the day ticking over and gets the resolution at the end of the day. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Calm the Conflict, The Art of Resolution, and we're looking forward to bringing you more. So keep listening, keep sending in your questions to David and I, and hopefully we can answer more questions about mediation. Thank you.
Lovely. Thanks very much.
Thank you for listening. This podcast was brought to you by Right Here Creative, a video creative agency based in Oxfordshire. Check them out at rightherecreative.co.uk.